The night was meant to sparkle with elegant gowns, shimmering chandeliers, and subtle political maneuvering. The royal ball, a time-honored tradition rich with history and protocol, was making its grand return, promising all the grandeur the palace could offer. After years of silence, this event was to mark a new chapter, a carefully orchestrated celebration of royalty, heritage, and continuity. Princess Charlotte, who has grown into a poised and confident young woman, was slated to make her official debut alongside her family. But then, everything changed. The guest list, thoroughly vetted by senior aides, featured international dignitaries and minor nobility alike. Suddenly, Charlotte's name disappeared. Not overlooked by accident, deliberately removed. At first, confusion reigned, followed by a tense silence. Whispers soon emerged behind palace walls. Queen Camilla had intervened. Sources say the queen consort was concerned that Charlotte's presence might steal attention from the evening's main focus. Some say she considered the invitation premature, but insiders familiar with palace politics insist it was more than just protocol. It was personal. How did Prince William react? Fiercely. Those close to the situation say he spoke not as a future king, but as a protective father. And he didn't hold back. Charlotte had done nothing wrong. She had already demonstrated grace and composure in public appearances. So why now? Why her? As tensions rose, Kate Middleton faced a choice. Attend the ball quietly, or make a statement no one would forget. Her next move sent shockwaves across the kingdom. This wasn't a simple scheduling mix-up or a misunderstanding. It was a deliberate message, a calculated play in a quiet power struggle that's been underway since Princess Diana's era. A battle not just about tradition, but about influence, legacy, and control. In a world ruled by unwritten rules, Charlotte's exclusion spoke louder than any official announcement ever could. When Queen Camilla blocked Princess Charlotte from attending, she crossed more than a line. She may have shifted the entire royal landscape. And Prince William's response? Far from diplomatic. It was deeply personal, sending a clear warning that echoed throughout the realm. What really went down that night? And what does it mean for the future of the crown? Get ready. The ball may have ended, but the fallout is just beginning. Invitations had been printed on thick ivory cardstock, embossed with gold royal seals, and personally delivered weeks in advance. This was no ordinary event. It was the first royal ball since the late Queen's passing. Hosted at Buckingham Palace by King Charles III and Queen Camilla, the evening was a statement of their reign, their vision, and their destiny for the monarchy. For the Wales family, it carried an even deeper significance, an opportunity to present the next generation not just as royal children, but as future leaders. Prince George, now a teenager, was reportedly asked to escort a visiting European princess. Prince Louis was still considered too young for the spotlight, but Princess Charlotte? Elegant, sharp, and already beloved by royal fans, this seemed to be her moment. Early guest lists had her name clearly included, until it vanished. Leaked documents reveal that royal advisors had planned a small ceremonial role for Princess Charlotte, positioning her alongside her parents to present the modern royal family as a united front. Her outfit was selected, and her etiquette training subtly refined. Yet, with only 10 days remaining, Charlotte was suddenly and inexplicably cut out of all internal event communications. No rehearsals, no fittings, no invitation. Initially, palace officials insisted it was a simple oversight, an administrative error, one source claimed, but others weren't convinced. Those close to the planning committee confirmed a troubling fact. Charlotte's name appeared on the original guest list, but was physically crossed out. This wasn't a casual omission during a guest list shuffle. It was a deliberate removal. And the signature beside the alteration? Allegedly, Queen Camilla's. The decision sent waves of unease throughout the palace. Why would Camilla interfere over something seemingly minor? And why now? The official explanation from the palace was vague. They stated that Charlotte was simply too young for formal attendance, but that reasoning didn't hold up. At 6 years old, Princess Anne had already attended similar events. Diana herself had escorted Charles to major galas before their marriage. Moreover, Charlotte had already made prominent appearances at the Queen's funeral, the Platinum Jubilee, and the coronation. The claim that Charlotte was public-facing but not ball-worthy didn't make sense. Experts familiar with royal power dynamics offered a different perspective. Charlotte's profile was rising, and Camilla knew it. Charlotte was increasingly seen as a symbol of elegance, continuity, and the enduring legacy of Diana. Camilla's composed exterior drew unavoidable comparisons to the late Princess of Wales, comparisons she had never fully overcome. Camilla viewed the event as an opportunity to reinforce the monarchy's new image, centered around herself and King Charles. Having Charlotte elegantly poised beside Kate would shift attention back to the Wales family, detracting from the Queen Consort's carefully cultivated narrative. As a result, the young princess was sidelined. What was supposed to be a magical night for Charlotte turned into a calculated exclusion, a strategic move amid a quietly growing rift. At Adelaide Cottage, Charlotte reportedly remained puzzled but composed. "It's okay, Mommy," she comforted Kate. Yet sources close to the family say Kate was furious. And Prince William? He was quietly seething. This was more than a celebration. It was about precedence, power, and a grandmother-in-law determined to keep the future Princess of Wales in her place. Camilla underestimated the consequences of her actions, because William was already preparing a response, one that would leave no doubt where he stood. Although Princess Charlotte missed the ball, her absence was more striking than anyone's presence could have been. To the public, Queen Camilla might seem like a harmless consort, smiling at charity events, attending garden parties, and moving at the measured pace expected of royalty. But behind palace doors, insiders describe a far more influential woman. She's not just managing her public image, she's shaping the future. And if recent developments are any indication, her reach extends well beyond her own generation, directly affecting the lives of the children who may one day inherit the throne. The decision to exclude Princess Charlotte from the royal ball wasn't made on a whim. It was a deliberate message. Multiple reports suggest this move fits into Camilla's broader strategy to reshape the royal family's hierarchy, not through titles or official declarations, but through influence, favor, and optics. Many insiders believe it stems from Camilla's discomfort with anything that calls Diana's memory to mind. And Charlotte, in many ways, embodies those reminders. Royal observers and media outlets have long drawn comparisons between Charlotte and her grandmother Diana, noting her striking gaze and poise during public appearances. One image of Charlotte at a wreath-laying ceremony, bowed in solemn reflection, went viral almost instantly, with headlines dubbing her Diana Reborn. Another moment, when Charlotte gently corrected Prince Louis during a balcony appearance, was widely praised as quintessential Princess of Wales energy. Such headlines don't escape notice. Sources close to the Queen Consort say she has quietly expressed concern that the younger generation, especially Charlotte, is eclipsing her position in the monarchy. Though never stated outright, several insiders hint that Camilla feels the focus on Diana's legacy is hindering the royal family's progress. But the issue runs deeper. While Charlotte's star continues to rise, Camilla's grandchildren have been steadily woven into royal life. Despite lacking titles and standing outside the line of succession, Camilla has pushed for them to receive official duties, accompanying her to the coronation, attending key ceremonies, and even appearing prominently in royal portraits. Observers see this as no coincidence. This isn't about affection, a former royal advisor explained. It's about legacy. Camilla realizes that as long as she remains in Diana's shadow, history will judge her harshly. Her way of shifting the narrative is by elevating her own grandchildren while diminishing the public profile of Kate's children, especially Charlotte. But there's a problem. The public isn't going along. Polls consistently show that William, Kate, and their children hold most of the monarchy's popular support. Charlotte, in particular, has become a beloved symbol of nobility and grace, admired by both traditional royalists and younger generations alike. She represents more than just the future. She embodies the heart of the monarchy today. She is the one. Camilla knows this well. Removing Charlotte's name from the guest list wasn't just about following protocol. It was an attempt to dim a light that was beginning to outshine her own. But what Camilla didn't anticipate was the fierce protection William and Kate would mount around that light, nor how the British public, still deeply connected to Diana's legacy, would see right through the facade. When Prince William found out that Princess Charlotte wouldn't be attending the royal ball, sources close to him say his reaction was immediate and intense. The usually composed and measured heir to the throne vanished, replaced by a father who was furious rather than restrained. This wasn't about royal appearances or palace etiquette. It was about his daughter, and a clear line that had been crossed. According to insiders at Kensington Palace, William received the news late one evening during a private briefing. At first, he thought it was a mistake. "Charlotte's not on the list?" he reportedly asked, scanning the guest roster. But as his aides explained the decision and who had pushed for it, the atmosphere in the room shifted. He stood up. He didn't shout, they say, but his words were sharp and cutting. Disgust, they say, can be more powerful than anger. "This is petty," he remarked, pacing back and forth, "and totally unacceptable." Within hours, William arranged a private meeting with King Charles and Queen Camilla. Officially, the discussion was about the logistics of the ball. In reality, it was a showdown. Staff outside the room reportedly overheard raised voices. William, known for his diplomatic demeanor, didn't hold back. He wasn't speaking as the Prince of Wales, he was speaking as a father, furious that his daughter was being punished over palace politics. "What message does this send?" he challenged. "So my daughter is less royal than yours, less welcome in the castle that will one day be hers?" Sources said he asked pointedly. Queen Camilla came prepared with a response. She claimed the ball was for adults only and that Charlotte wasn't old enough for such events. But William wasn't convinced, especially since Prince George was invited, and Camilla's own grandchildren, who hold no official titles, would be in attendance. The double standard was glaring. More than that, the situation felt painfully familiar, like a scene from his mother's life. William had grown up watching Diana sidelined, excluded from events, forced to endure it all with a smile. He recognized this as royal retaliation. And now it was happening again, but this time to his daughter. He was determined to put a stop to it. During the conversation, William reportedly said, "If Charlotte's not welcome, neither are we." It wasn't a threat. It was a firm commitment. He was ready to pull out of the event entirely, even if it meant damaging the monarchy's public image. But Charles, caught between his wife and son, remained silent. Afterward, William went home and sat down with Charlotte. Gently, he told her she wouldn't be attending after all. Usually composed, Charlotte simply nodded. "That's okay, Papa," she said. But William saw a flicker of hurt in her eyes. The same look he had seen on Diana's face too many times. That moment transformed his anger into resolve. This wasn't just a one-time incident. It was part of a pattern. And if the monarchy thought it could keep the Wales children out of the spotlight without consequences, they had seriously underestimated their father. The royal ball arrived with all the grandeur one would expect at Buckingham Palace. Glittering carriages, velvet robes, and flashes that lit up the courtyard like a movie premiere. The guest list was finalized, seating charts set, and the red carpet rolled out. Yet one name stood out by its absence: Princess Charlotte. And that silence was exactly what Catherine, the Princess of Wales, intended the world to notice. When Kate stepped out of the royal carriage that night, she didn't need words or controversy to make her stance clear. Her midnight blue gown was elegant and poised, but it was the jewelry that stole the show. Draped around her neck was Diana's iconic sapphire necklace, the very piece Diana wore when reclaiming her image and independence after Charles's betrayal. It was more than just a necklace. It was a statement. Royal watchers immediately recognized the meaning. Diana had worn that necklace during one of her most memorable post-divorce appearances, radiating strength and grace. Kate's choice wasn't accidental. It was a quiet, powerful message wrapped in royal gems. Before she reached the grand staircase, whispers began swirling through the palace. Courtiers noticed the frosty exchange, or notable lack of one, between Kate and Camilla. Unlike past events where Kate played the dutiful daughter-in-law, this time there were no lingering smiles or polite nods. If they acknowledged each other at all, it was with a chill colder than champagne. No drama was needed. Kate's silence spoke volumes. Throughout the evening she moved gracefully around the ballroom, but sharp eyes caught her tight smile and the way she scanned the room for support. At one point, she was seen talking to a foreign dignitary who had brought his teenage daughter, a subtle reminder of what the evening might have meant for Charlotte. As cameras captured every moment, journalists began asking the question on everyone's mind: where is Princess Charlotte? The query quickly gained traction on social media. By night's end, hashtags like #WhereIsCharlotte and #CamillaGate were trending. The public noticed, and more importantly, they sided with Kate. By the end of the evening, it was clear that the Queen Consort's attempt to control the narrative had backfired. Camilla may have orchestrated Charlotte's exclusion, but Kate emerged with sympathy, grace, and front-page headlines. Some aides described Kate's approach as calm defiance. She didn't make a fuss or cause a scene, but she didn't pretend everything was fine either. Her loyalty was to her daughter, and by wearing Diana's iconic sapphire necklace, she sent a powerful message to everyone in that ballroom and viewers around the world that some legacies can't be erased, no matter how hard others try. Camilla may have taken Charlotte's place at the ball, but Kate claimed the story. Because when a mother stands up for her child, centuries of royal tradition can be challenged with a single gesture. By dawn, the ball was no longer the main headline. The silk gowns, diamond tiaras, and diplomatic greetings faded into the background. What remained, louder than any headline, was a burning question. Where was Princess Charlotte? It began with quiet whispers on social media. Users posted photos from the event, scanning every detail for any sign of the young princess. But as more images surfaced, it became obvious. Charlotte was nowhere to be seen, and people were upset. Hashtags like #WhereIsCharlotte, #Charlotte. Snubbed and hatched not, My Queen quickly trended across the UK, the US, and even Australia. Memes circulated comparing Camilla's grandchildren, who lack royal titles, to Charlotte's absence. Camilla's grandkids aren't even royal, one commenter wrote. Why are they front and center, while the king's granddaughter is left at home? The backlash didn't stop there. TikTok creators drew unsettling parallels between Diana's ostracism in the 1990s and Charlotte's recent exclusion. History repeats itself, one viral video declared, garnering over 2 million views in less than a day. Another designer bluntly stated, Diana was erased. Now they're trying it again, this time with her granddaughter. Public support swung heavily in favor of William, Kate, and Charlotte. Royal social media pages flooded with comments praising Kate's quiet strength and criticizing the palace's favoritism. Kate didn't need to say a word. One popular comment read, She walked in wearing Diana's necklace, and we understood everything. The monarchy has worked hard to rebuild public trust after years of scandals, but now, with just one name missing from the invitation list, that trust was cracking again. All eyes turned to the woman seated beside the king, Queen Camilla, who had long cultivated a softer, more relatable image, now faced an online firestorm. For years, she maintained a carefully controlled public persona. But Diana's spirit lingered, and Charlotte, whether intentionally or not, had become the living embodiment of that legacy. According to sources, Camilla was shaken by the backlash. What was probably meant as a quiet backstage decision had exploded into a full-blown PR disaster. Even tabloids that usually backed her were forced to acknowledge the public's outrage. The BBC, known for its measured approach to royal reporting, aired a special titled, "Was Princess Charlotte Snubbed? Palace Faces Backlash Over Guest List." To try to manage the fallout, Buckingham Palace issued a brief statement claiming that Princess Charlotte's absence adhered to long-standing royal protocol regarding age-appropriate appearances. But the timing couldn't have been worse. The public wasn't convinced, especially after Camilla's grandchildren, technically private citizens, were seen freely enjoying the ball. Behind the scenes, palace advisors scrambled to craft follow-up articles and plant positive stories in royal-friendly outlets to steer attention elsewhere. Unfortunately, the damage had already been done. This was about more than just a single incident. It revealed a pattern, a quiet exclusion of prominent women from the royal spotlight whenever their presence became inconvenient. Camilla was losing control over the narrative in a world where perception is everything for the monarchy.